This is a win. Today, the Leafs head to Pittsburgh and they beat the Penguins in overtime as the Leafs win 6-5 in overtime over the Pittsburgh Penguins and they sweep the 4-game road trip. It was a pretty good game today because, well, because this was a win-win situation. This was one of those games where it's like a bit of back and forth. You're up by a lead, you blew it in the end, and of course it went back and forth from there. So it's impressive, really. It was actually really impressive. So what happened? Well, before the game started, we all know Chris Tanev moved to the IR. Yeah, as if we know it was going to happen. Anyone else? Steven Lorentz out with an injury. I don't know if he was going to be playing, but that guy was actually a game time decision. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he returns. Thank God he wasn't injured. And we bring in Connor Dewar, and that lineup, that fourth lineup, might have been the worst lineup I have seen by far. Connor Dewar, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves. Okay, so we went from Lorentz, Kampf, and Alex Steves to whatever the hell it is, to whatever the heck it is, to whatever the heck we just got in the fourth line. I mean, bro, really? It's just inexcusable. But we're still able to get the win. So what are we doing this? Well, let's go through what happened in the first period. Because, oh boy, we got a lot to talk about in the first period. A lot. The first period, well, Leafs were up 2-0. As in, we're up 2-0. Max Domi scores for the first time since when the Leafs took down the Buffalo Sabres 6-3. After January, February, after 2 months, after a long drought from December through March, Max Domi scores on his birthday to give the Leafs the 1-0 lead. They strike first in the Steel City. The second period, no, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves for that. And then, of course, not long after, Connor Timmins scores, and it's 2-0 Leafs. All right, we're doing a pretty good job there. Yeah, I wouldn't count your chickens before they hatch, buddy, because that's when when everything went to smithereens. Because Cody Glass brings the Pittsburgh within 1, and they get on the board. It's 2-1 Leafs, and I'm like, oh God, this is about to happen, really? In the first period? And then, of course, Richard Raquel scores to tie the game up at 2, and I'm like, bro, you have to be kidding me, dude. We were up 2-0 right now. What are we doing? And then, of course, Leafs take a penalty. I believe Max Domi gets called for a penalty. And then, of course, he gets another penalty for tripping. Are you kidding me? The first one, of course, we tried to go for a shorty, but no. It was Sidney Crosby who did its thing. And Crosby and the Pens take the lead. It's 3-2 Pittsburgh Penguins. And the Leafs blowing a 2-0 lead. And we're going to go into the first period with a 3-2 deficit. Penguins up 3-2. Oh my God. It's like every time when the Leafs were up by a lead, it's the other team playing hero. Here I come to save the day. And then, of course, we're going to blow it. Well, okay. I thought for a moment it was going to be like that. I was like mumbling to myself, Jesus Christ, can we not blow this damn thing up? Oh, we didn't. But of course, not long after, Austin Matthews scores. And the game's tied at 3. Okay, got some momentum back. And of course, a nifty pass from Sidney Crosby to Brandon Rust, who actually retakes the lead for Pittsburgh. It is now 4-3 Pittsburgh Penguins. Okay, here we go again. And I'm feeling like if we're going to lose to the Penguins, may God have mercy, because the Penguins are still poverty, and this team is going to lose to the Penguins, whom, of course, still has Sidney Crosby and Erik Karlsson at the helm with the Penguins. They still have Kyle Dubas. Really? But, of course, Leafs encounter back. They strike twice, and it's by John Tavares from Jake McCabe to John Tavares, and the game is tied at 4 on a breakaway. And here comes the best part. Matthew on the face-off. Matthew Nyes gets the puck and goes bullet, bar down, and of course we have a buzzer beater at 0.1 second left to go in the second period, and the Leafs take the lead on a buzzer beater. Like, oh my god, what a goal by Matthew Nyes. Well, it had to be reviewed, but it was a good goal. Thank God. Leafs up 5-4 in the second period. All right, let's close it out. Nope. We're going to let Richard Rakell again score 10 seconds into the third period, and the game is tied at 5. Oh, Jesus Christ. Leafs were up 5-4 to begin the second, and we're going to begin the third, and we're going to let Richard Rakell score. And Joseph Woll wasn't ready for that. Oh my God, what is going on here? I mean, we had some chances to take the lead, but Joel Blomqvist, that guy is just there. He's just like a brick wall out of nobody. He ain't no Alex Nedeljkovic. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, but who cares at this point? I'm sorry, but oh my God, we're just giving the Penguins the life of day. The Penguins tried doing it on their own, but to no avail. Joseph Woll was the difference maker in the third period, and same with Joel Blomqvist. And the game goes into overtime, where yes, this is where the fun part begins. Because even though the Penguins didn't even try in overtime. And guess who actually scores in overtime? It was none other than Austin. Whoopsie doodles. Jumped the gun there. Let's try it again. Let's rewind the clip. It was William Nylander. And he says, "Let's go home, baby." And the Leafs win it 6-5 in overtime. What a game. What a game from the start to the end. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. It doesn't get any better. To start the game up 2-0, blow it in the first period, and then of course go back and forth in the second period, and then third period, Ricard ties the game up at 5, and then of course William Nylander says, "Let's go home. Game over. We're going home," and that's how it ends. I mean, that was a close game. It was like a playoff game. Think about it that way. It's like, remember Leafs and the Bruins in Game 7 where it went 0-0 before William Nylander gives the Leafs a 1-0 lead before giving it up to the Bruins? Yeah, I remember that. This is the same feeling like this game. Like last game. Like any game you can think of. Anything, whether it's a regular season game or a playoff game, you're experiencing everything. You're experiencing a win. Kind of. But you're experiencing everything. From scoring and then going down and then scoring, going down and then actually taking the lead. It was like a roller coaster ride. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. There's like a lot of things. There's a lot of ups and downs in this game. I mean, yeah, sure, Joseph Woll may have let some stinkers in. I don't understand why we of course, should have started with Anthony Stolarz, but he's starting the back-to-back against the San Jose Sharks, which is tomorrow, by the way. I'll get to that later. And they put in Joseph Woll in the net. Look, by all means, there's no disrespect on Joseph Woll. He's a good goaltender. But at times, he might be good for the back-to-backs. I'm sorry. That's like my spiel here. It's the truth. So that's it. And the Penguins, well, the Pittsburgh Penguins will continue to be a poverty franchise. They're going to get younger. They're going to rebuild. And they're not going to get any better until they build something around Sidney Crosby. Yeah, that guy. I think that's it. That's it for me today. That's a done deal for the Leafs. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot for me to say. That is it for this Leafs rant. The next game for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they play tomorrow against Macklin Celebrini and the San Jose Sharks, whom of course are on an 8-game losing streak. You're playing against the Sharks, whom are pathetically bad. Whether it's the power play, penalty kill, almost anything you can think of. That Sharks team sucks. So it's best for us that we don't lose to the Sharks. I'm just hoping that the Leafs don't lose to the San Jose Sharks. Because if you lose to a laughingstock team, we're going to have some serious problems. Like, we are going to have some serious problems. And of course, before I end the video, this week, by the way, is trade deadline week. So technically, in this trade deadline week, well, technically, I'll probably do a trade deadline rant for the Leafs. And I'll talk about, like, okay, who the Leafs got. Is it beneficial for the Is it actually good for the Leafs? Is it enough for the Leafs to make it further in the Stanley Cup playoffs, to actually make it to the next step, to go all in and go win that Stanley Cup? That's like, I'm going to do that. And I'll probably write down who the Leafs got in that trade deadline and then go through the stats from there, like a true pro. And I'll do everything I can to do that Leafs rant, to do that Leafs trade deadline rant. Whether it's actually at home on a Friday, because technically Fridays are tonight. On the Friday, it's trade deadline week. On that day, it's trade deadline day. So better make up for everything and do what we had to do. And Brad Treliving, please do better in the trade deadline. Don't go and don't do the worst. Don't do anything pretty stupid here. Don't do stupid things like this. Remember when you got Joel Edmondson, Ilya Lyubushkin, Connor Dewar, Kate Weber? That was an unacceptable NHL trade deadline from last year. And I know you're better than that. So, gotta do what you gotta do. That's it for me to say for the trade deadline. So I'm hoping that the trade deadline for the Leafs goes to plan this year than it was last year. I'm hoping I'm right on this. Let's go, Leafs! Yeah!